darling hearts, it's your GAPS coach Emma here with an ear of corn, of wheat. I went walking down the fields where I grew up, and when I grew up the wheat was much taller. I know when I was 12 I was 5'8", which is the height I am now, and I remember going down the fields because I always felt compelled to go and see the sunrise or the sunset, get that infrared light in my eyes. I had an intuition, it's what I needed anyway. Walking past the grains, I would pick a grain of wheat like that, and the berries I would husk them between my hands, rubbing them between my hands, and I would chew on them and then get the gluten to make a kind of like a chewing gum in my mouth. I used to love it, you know. I used to love the wheat, and it was high. It was like up here somewhere. And my dad just told me that when he was growing up, the wheat was above his head. And these days, the stalks are about two and a bit foot, because they've been hybridised. They've been chosen, they've been genetically, not modified necessarily, but genetically chosen for their smaller stalks, because they used to use the stalks for thatching roofs. My dad lives in a thatched cottage, and you need really long, 2 metre long stalks to get a good material for making a roof. But they don't have thatched cottages anymore, so they just want short stalks. But the stalks are really useful for the animals as well. So, but the truth is, here in the UK, they use a lot of something called glyphosate, which is known as Roundup. Round them up. In the shops, you can buy it yourself in any old gardening centre to kill the dandelions in your lawn. That's a very useful herb, a dandelion. Why we would want to kill it, I never know. This is a very excellent book called Bagel Goggles, and in it I researched a little bit about glyphosate. Glyphosate inhibits an enzyme involved in the synthesis of 3 amino acids. So amino acids are the chains of proteins that we're all made of. So tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine. They're really important, and glyphosate inhibits an enzyme involved in their production. In 2017, the European Chemicals Agency classified glyphosate as causing serious eye damage and toxic to aquatic life. Well, that's not good. Wikipedia goes on, glyphosate was first synthesized in 1950 by a Swiss chemist who worked for the Swiss company Silag. That work was never published, but they patented the agent as a chemical chelator, and a chelator in 1964. Glyphosate binds and removes minerals such as calcium, magnesium, manganese, copper and zinc. So it chelates minerals, and you can smile and wave and laugh in the face of adversity if you just buy my book, because I explain all this, but then I talk about ways that you can avoid getting poisoned. I'm not averse to wheat. I love the idea of give us this day our daily bread, and a good sourdough. You can't beat a good sourdough. It's lush, you know, I get it. But unfortunately, we're having wheat for breakfast, lunch and dinner, for cereals in the morning, heavily processed, and it will be concentrating the glyphosate and the other little microdoses of herbicides and pesticides that we get because of the farming practices. You know, it's not like it was 50 years ago. Suddenly now they're using a plethora of weird concoction of chemicals that your body doesn't recognise. So if you're still eating pancakes and wheat and, you know, crumpets and whatever, Eccles cakes, oh my God, I love Eccles cakes. They're lovely. But it needs to be a heritage grain like spelt or einkorn, an old variety of corn with long stalks that's been grown biodynamically, or, you know, and then it's been properly soured, properly fermented, so that takes out all the lectins. Because there's another thing, there's loads of oxalates in grains, there's loads of lectins in grains. Lectins are sticky proteins that stick to your hormone receptors, so they disrupt hormone function. So this is just a few reasons why avoiding the grains is a good idea. It's a really, really good idea. These hybridised short stalk grains of wheat, they don't have a very good protein to carbohydrate ratio. Like back in the day, it was high protein and sort of an even Stevens protein and carb in the berry. These days, they're really sugary. There's hardly any protein in there. Anyway, I could go on, but I won't. I'm here at my dad's. I've got the chicken stock pot on. Bless him. When I'm here and I look after him and I give him his Oyster Max in his cup of stock, you know, he's sprightly and he's getting on with things. And then I leave him alone for 5 minutes and he just eats a load of rubbish, and it drives me nuts. It's been going on for 15 years, but I've got to just love him unconditionally. Some people just don't get it. Doesn't matter how many times I tell him. he still goes and abuses himself by eating crumpets and stuff. He thinks it's okay, but he doesn't understand the bigger picture. Yeah, he doesn't understand. He hasn't even read my book. Bless him. But you can get it from Amazon. Bagel Goggles, take them off, see the food as a medicine. It really has helped a lot of people to wrap their heads around the idea of why we should shun these industrially produced grains that are not properly prepared as well. If you want to have some grains, you've got to make sure you heal and seal the gut. That's the other thing. It destroys the zonulin, which is like the sticky stuff that sticks your epithelial cells together. So then you get a little hole, and that's called leaky gut, when whole pieces of undigested biodynamic strawberry or whatever can get through your gut lining into your bloodstream. And then once those whole pieces of undigested food are in your bloodstream, your body's like, Nina, send out the emergency services, quick. And then suddenly you've got inflammation, which could show up as anything. Inflammation can show up as achy joints or itchy skin or a runny nose, or as these allergy type high histamine vibes, you know. Once you heal and seal that leaky gut, suddenly whole pieces of undigested food can't. You can actually do it within a week if you really apply yourself, you know, because the gut lining heals super fast. I mean, it depends how sick you are. If you're really, really sick, it might take a bit longer than that. But you go on an elimination diet, which means you take all the grains and all the sugars and all the refined rubbish out, and you have stock from the stock pot. I've got my stock pot there, bubbling away. You can see it on the stove there, and a little bit of chicken soup for Dad when he comes in. He's having a go at mowing the lawn. Bless him. Because you can hold on to something and push it along. It's 84, it's not bad. He's still actually remarkably flexible and quite strong. I've got good genes, I'm very lucky. Anyway, darling hearts, have a beautiful day and see me at timelesscookery.com. I'm just done Instead of Bread, which is a great little course that shows you what the hell you can eat instead of wheat, and give you comfort food favourites that you can enjoy guilt-free because they're full of stuff that's actually going to help you heal your gut. And I'm just doing Fearless Ferments, which is the next kind of most important level thing that you need to wrap your head around if you're going to recolonize your microbiome, and your microbiome is your greatest asset, remember. If you want resilience and adaptability, you've got to culture and cultivate the garden of your microbiome, okay? You've got to feed your microbes, not feed yourself donuts or whatever, feed your microbes the things they need to thrive, because they're the ones that are going to help you make the tyrosine and the diphenylalanine and the tryptophan. Tryptophan is like where tripping comes from. I'm tripping, like feeling great, I feel amazing. We make our own drugs. I know that because when I had my kids, when I had my babies, I got high as a kite on my very own drugs. I didn't have anything from the hospital. I didn't go to the hospital, I stayed at home, and I gave birth to my kids in a water pool at home, and I got high as a kite. I was high as a kite, and I would not use the word pain in association with giving birth to my kids, because it was just like a massive yoga session where I had to do some serious stretching and serious breathing. And then 2 days after the birth, I came down with a massive bump and felt like I'd been beaten up with a baseball bat. Okay, so I know I was high as a kite, and then I came down from the high and I was like, whoa, God, I'm achy and I feel really shaky and like, whoa, beat up, you know. But your body makes drugs. Let your body make drugs. Let your body make the right drugs by stop hitting the stuff that's stopping your body having the building blocks to make your happy drugs. Tryptophan is like a happy drug, and glyphosate, which is all over, sprayed all over grains. They do it more than one time through the process as well. In fact, I fancy they would have started spraying it when I was young. So possibly when I was taking that ear of corn and I was, getting those berries and chewing it, possibly it could have just been sprayed to desiccate it. I could have just been, necking glyphosate straight back in the day. That could have been where my troubles started, because when I was in my 20s I had edema, which means swollen legs, where your legs blow up like size of an elephant. They weren't size of an elephant when I was in my 20s, but they were when I was pregnant. Size of an elephant, with water retention, because your electrolyte balance is off. So I know all about it. And I know all about stealth health and how to get the kids to eat the things that they don't want to eat. I know all about it. And there is no disease, there's only toxicity and deficiency. So that's really good news. All we have to do is deal with the deficiencies and stop putting the toxins in. Basically, that's the hard part, because it's like crack cocaine. Anyway, get my new book. Get Bagel Goggles and tell me what you think. And if you're interested in joining the next cohort, I can work with you one-to-one and tailor these protocols to your specific symptoms. It's all coming clear. and I've got the tools. So see you soon. Lots of love. Bye.